going to be tough. The weather is going to have gusts today. It's going to be shitty the whole day. I don't know. We'll see. Spot, are you good?
Shooter in 3, 2, 1.
Impact.
Good job, man.
I'm surprised for first stage I shot as well as I did. I had the jitters pretty bad. The two shots I dropped were definitely jitters. I was prepping the trigger on target, and I was watching my reticle settle, and as it was crossing in, my heart rate just couldn't steady it, so when I sent it, it just went right off the right edge of the plate at the end. And it was like, could have just taken that extra second to settle, and I didn't. Great start. Great start, especially with this weather. My dope was high. My rounds were going over the targets, and then I made the correction and I started shooting the bottom edge of this thing. And then I started getting my hits. But wind died for me. Impact! Yeah, wind died for me, which is nice. Gave me a chance to get on target. But wish I did better.
So the targets were between 528 yards and 733. After the last stage, I started noticing I had really high impacts at 1,000 yards. And as I climb the hill through the course of fire, my rounds start going higher and higher above the targets. The H6 was 528, no problem getting hits there. Missed H7, it looks like it was a wild miss, but it was right over the top of it. There was wind, and the wind was about 3/10 of center, so it was dead for the last shooter. I adjusted for wind at H8, but you can see they're barely touching the top of the target. And as we climb the hill, my rounds are going to start going over the tops of the plates. But the wind was affecting the rounds here, but the real issue was the elevation. If I had the correct elevation, I would have been kissing the tops of the plates.
What the fuck?
Moving into the fourth stage, I still hadn't figured out exactly what was going on with my gun. So the closer targets I was able to get impacts on. Up to 420 yards, no problem. T2 was at 720 yards, and it had a forest as backdrop, so I could not see my misses. So all my shots at T2 were high and right, just off the plate. And I was framing it in my top right quadrant to try to accommodate for wind and the issues that I was having with my data. I am running a Schillen barrel. It's my first time running a Schillen barrel, so I'm used to doing barrel break-ins on part lines and Kriegers. Schillen, they heat treat their barrels before reaming, and they seem to have a longer break-in period on 6mm than I was having with the Kriegers and the Bart lines for 6.5 Creedmoor. During this match, this gun's at about 450 rounds through the barrel, and the velocities are still speeding up. After this stage, one of my squad mates brought out a magneto speed, and my velocities were about 43 feet per second faster than what was in my ballistics calculator. I shot 5 shots, and all 5 shots were pretty stable with an SD of 5. Having an SD of 5, standard deviation, only 5 feet per second between the 5 shots that I took, I realized my barrel had finished the break-in process.
I'm sending. So I think my velocities are still off. I aimed 2/10 below the target and I hit just under it, he said, and then I hit just over it at that distance, so I still think I gotta go a little higher.
So the PRS Barricade is a barricade stage that you shoot from 4 positions, 2 shots at each position at the same target, and it's under time. So the fastest, if you clean it, and your time will augment your score. It's a tiebreaker stage. A lot of the top 10 shooters were all within 3 points of each other, and this stage breaks some of those ties. So you might have guys that have, let's say, 64 impacts for the day. There's 5 of them. Whoever shot the fastest on this stage, it will be the leader of that string. So they typically always have a PRS Barricade stage, and I closed out this stage at 43 seconds.
Dropped one. What's my time?
Alright, so shooting off the tires at distance, my dope was good. Wind got me on a couple bits there, but it was the 2 drop shots that I had on the stage were not being completely stable on those tires. Those tires, even though I looked like I was super stable, they were a little bit wobbly. If you can't find your target, don't try to mag in, mag out. Just look up over your scope, find it, point your gun at it, and then get behind your gun. That's the easiest way for target acquisition quickly. A lot of times you'll get new shooters that will mag out to find their target and then mag back in and then lose it again, and they're just wasting time. So just all you have to do is look over your scope, point your barrel at the target you're shooting at, and get behind it.
Stage winner was 7.
So the boat stage, I was watching a couple different shooters. Some shooters were super stable, putting the gun all the way at the end. Hindsight 2020, I wish I ran my gun a little bit more rearward. My center of mass was a little bit imbalanced compared to some other shooters. I think my gun, since I have a little bit more weight out front, and I'm not running a compensator, I'm running a can. So I was getting a lot more movement than some other shooters, and so I was waiting for that pendulum action to settle just a little bit, and I was timing it with the swing of the target. The target was swinging, I was swinging, and I was trying to time it just perfectly, and I did. I got all my impacts, but I took my time a little too much, and I ended up only getting 9 of 10, even though I put 12 into the target, because I could not hear them calling impact or stage over. So I just kept shooting until they basically told me to stop shooting. It was a fun stage. It was, I think, 350-ish yards or so, but waiting for it to settle and then shooting and trying not to run the bolt fast is the way to do it here. Now that I've shot this once, my first time shooting a floating platform, I'll be a little bit faster on the timing. There's a stage that is not in this YouTube video. Just the camera decided not to record. But it was one of the better stages of the day for myself. It was 8 of 9 impacts. It was off like a playground section, which is pretty cool. So overall, first match of the year. Having a velocity speed up issue, I'm still really happy with the outcome.
I didn't drop any.
Well, the last one you ran out of time.
Oh.
But other than that, you didn't drop any.
I was not as stable as I thought I'd be.
No?
No. I was moving quite a bit.